Howdy guys, it's Joe here, today going over some ShadowBurn Pharah gameplay, of course trying to tell you guys some tips, some of the things you can mainly see from this character, and how you can maybe improve yourself, and of course some really nice gameplay to boot. Now of course this video was actually supported and made possible by Extreme Apple X. They asked if, we could have Pharah next, so decided to go for them. And in the comment section down below, say who you want next, and whoever has the most upvotes will be the person that is chosen, or I guess if nobody gets any upvotes, the first person to say anyone, so keep that in mind. Anyways, let's just get straight onto this, and as you see right here, we can see that he really likes to stay quite far up, and he also uses walls and other things that he can kind of bounce off of for a second to make so that he actually flies for a second longer, which is kind of cool. As well with this, something that you might want to kind of pay attention to and try to learn how to do. First off, flick shot, that's super nice. But as well with that, be able to track, of course, where you are shooting at. Playing Pharah and getting used to her bullets are kind of awkward, and of course if you aren't a person that often plays Pharah, or if you're a person that is, it's still kind of hard to get used to, so you really do have to practice at that. And of course flick shotting is a really important thing. Just kind of shoot where you think they're going to be going. You really have to make a read with like every single shot as this character, so try to make as many of them count as you possibly can. As well with that, we often see this player shooting where he thinks that the enemies probably will be. He doesn't wait until they get there, he shoots where they're probably going to be next, just where it would make sense for them to logically go. And of course, right there, probably would hold backwards, does hold backwards, gets a really easy kill right there. You can just kind of see what the thought process is and just kind of go on from there, and it can really be not way too hard once you just kind of realize how these players actually aim. It's kind of awkward at the beginning, but it is really useful. And of course what you can do also is kind of like what Junkrat can do, just spam around corners, and spammer people will often be, and just charge your ultimate up just a little bit. Of course until you already have your ult, then that's probably not the best idea, but before that it's a really good idea. Anyways, another thing other than aiming that I want to talk about is of course this movement. This person's moving all over the map all of the time. You never really see him just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, which a lot of people do. They kind of just sit straight up. A lot of people would probably just be right around this, bouncing themselves up and down and just trying to shoot people from really far away, not really getting close enough to get any kills. Of course, you don't want to get melee range, but you can get pretty close because Pharah is actually really easy to hit with up close. And of course, just getting really good positioning, making it hard for the enemies to kill you, and flanking around people, as we saw with that McCree right there, it can be really useful. Of course, you can just stay at the same place, and a lot of the times people will, and a lot of the times people will just kind of stay right here, get this height advantage, and really not move about way too much, which is okay. But putting that extra effort is definitely worth the effort and worth the time, and you'll be able to do a lot more. Right here, just trying to poke off people, just stall for time, really anything that you can do. Of course, Pharah can do that pretty easily. And if you are shooting right at a point, you can stall for like 5 or 6 seconds because they're going to have to take you out first, or they're just going to have to go around another way, so it can be really nice with that. Now, another thing that I'd also like to mention that is in this gameplay is Pharah Mercy, or for Mercy, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's so strong. We really see this right here. Of course, damage boost in this ultimate, that's ridiculous. Being able to be healed at this far range, that's ridiculous. Damage boosting Pharah in general, that's really strong. Getting a graviton with your ultimate, or just shooting into that with damage boost with Pharah. There's so much good that comes from having Mercy and Pharah, and Mercy can often really survive a lot longer if you have a Pharah on your team. It's just one of those things that kind of makes sense to do, and especially since Pharah is being seen a lot more now, and is a lot stronger now, and since Mercy's quite a bit stronger now, some of the other supports kind of got bodied just a little bit. She's not the best, but at least she's more playable than she has been for a while. It makes it that if you go Pharah Mercy, it can really work well. Maybe you're a duo of these players, or maybe just randomly find people like that. I feel like that's really enjoyable. Of course, also being able to get height advantage, and especially, I do want to mention this again, being able to protect your healer, that Mercy, from someone like Genji or someone like Tracer, that's exactly what you need. Of course, we see people all the time that are Mercy mains saying how it's just kind of hard to be able to just generally live, because there's not many people to jump back to. A lot of the times people don't position way too well. But if you're moving about all the time as Pharah, it just gives a really easy target for that Mercy to go after. So try to do that. As well though, if you are playing Pharah, just kind of got hit by a sleep dart right there, that was pretty good. If you are playing Pharah, you probably want to make sure that you're moving around. I see quite often people that, I see quite often people that just kind of stand there, as I was saying earlier, but it's even worse when you have a Mercy. If the Mercy's not moving around in the skies, she can really easily be taken out by people like McCree, Widowmaker, sometimes even Genji, if she's just not moving way too much. So try to move yourself about and try to be less predictable than you would think so. If you always hold forward, to just get in the thick of the fight, maybe one time hold right randomly. People will probably miss their aim, and especially if you verse other Pharahs, if you verse people like Roadhog with a hook, or if you really just versus anybody with a projectile at all, you can mix up a lot of their aiming and do quite a bit of damage yourself too. Now, right around here, just trying to spam as much as they possibly can. Again, the Mercy being able to pretty much heal anything that possibly comes to you. And another thing that I really like to mention, getting a huge height advantage that no one else can rival. That's the thing that Pharah can do that I feel like makes her really strong. If you don't play her well, and if you don't get height advantages, like we see right here where she's above literally everyone, if you're at like this height right now, it can become kind of hard, and oftentimes, as we see in a few seconds, you just kind of die. If you get too close, if you don't have too much of a height advantage, and a lot of times that's where you are with a lot of other characters. It's a smart place to be. But as Pharah, you kind of have to think a little bit differently. She's overall a little bit different of a character, so just kind of keep that in your mind. Try to get a super high height advantage, and of course, shooting people from above also gives you just way more ability to kill them and to be able to hit them. It's just overall a lot better. Now, as well with this, I'd also say having somebody like a Zarya, as we see in this gameplay, can be extremely useful. Oftentimes people have people like McCree, maybe a Roadhog, someone like that, trying to counter either you or your Mercy. You know, they're trying to shoot one of you, maybe they get a shot or two and you're about to die. If the Zarya can kind of pay attention to you just a little bit and give you some shields, you can really ruin the opponent's day, if not everybody's focusing on you. Even just having a, solo person like a solo Ana, a solo Widowmaker, or a solo McCree, it can be kind of hard to take out Pharah just if she pre-aims really well. And of course, if you're being healed, it makes it even harder. But imagine adding a shield to that. It makes it that Pharah can really just rain justice from above, and there's not way too much other people can do from it. I'd say that's just something that you might want to kind of think about for yourself and try to employ as often as you can, because yeah, it's pretty strong. As well with that, you can do pretty well with people like Roadhog, with people like Reinhardt. You can stay behind the shield. What I'd say though, more than just kind of AFKing behind a shield doing a lot of damage, as Soldier just does that better overall, it's a good idea to try to flank around, try to get a lot of kills from behind, get a lot of kills from above. Just go places where Soldier can't. That's essentially what you are, like an AoE, less damage per second Soldier, and kind of harder to hit people with Soldier, but at the same time, you have really nice burst, you have super good height advantage, you kind of just have a lot of stuff that other people don't have, such as huge flanking potential. So make sure to use that, as if you don't, you're just playing a character that could be utilized a lot better. So maybe just try to keep that in mind when you're playing this character. It's kind of hard to get used to, but it's definitely something that is going to be worthwhile if you do put a lot of the effort into it. As well with this, I want to say something, which is that Pharah isn't great on every single map. Some maps, she just freaking demolishes on. She has a lot of places where she can get a huge height advantage, huge range advantage, and can just maul through a lot of people. A lot of places that have huge choke points. Even Oasis is a pretty good, decent example. Maybe not the best, but it is pretty good, as there's a lot of places to get behind with. However, some maps that are really close range, or even just medium range, you can have kind of a problem with. You just get bursted too fast, you're just way too close to everyone, and it can be kind of hard. The last point of Route 66, that can be one that's a little bit difficult for you at times. So if it's not working out, of course, just switch it up. This character is a little bit less of a character that you can just play every single second of every single day. She has really good domain, of course, and if you can learn how to play her on most maps, she's going to be doing pretty well. She's just a little bit harder to play than some other characters, such as Soldier again, or even kind of McCree, just because you have to position really well, and you have to make sure that you're on maps that allow good positioning, because if the map does not allow that, you're going to be in big trouble. Right there we saw a really cool thing, by the way, which is that the Pharah actually just used her ear on the ground and shot herself super far away, eventually actually ending up to save her life. And of course, you see Winston right here, if you play Pharah well, and if you make sure to actually use your right click, or I guess use your fuel, just fly at the correct timings, you really shouldn't be killed by people like D.Va, you shouldn't be killed by people like Winston. You should just be able to get in the air for too long for them to do anything, especially after the change that we saw. I don't know exactly how long ago. It was a while ago with this character. Right there we saw something really nice as well, using the boost to get away from Winston with his own shield. There's a lot of stuff that you can do against Winston, and of course you can use that exact strategy against Reinhardt. And speaking of Reinhardt, we don't see one in this game, but if you do happen to have one, then you can happen to get behind him, kill the supports, and then go for him afterwards, or just kind of E him out of the way. Right there was really great. He just got right behind, took out a support, came out of nowhere, and of course his team really couldn't defend way too much. If you play Pharah well, and if you position well, and if you know where the enemies are, you're paying a lot of attention, it can feel kind of like it's just super hard to play around. You get behind a lot easier than a lot of the flankers, and you can just overall deal a lot of damage and just burst straight through people if they aren't really expecting you. As if they aren't trying to dodge your bullets, you can kill them a lot faster. Anyways, right here, they're just trying to finally finish it up, get as much kills as they can. Pharah's making sure to stay at far range, and then of course you see that graviton right there. Shoot as much damage as you can into that thing, and of course, again, just stay far range. Just make sure that you're always up in the air. And that's generally it. Those are the two main things you should be doing as this character, which are pretty simple, but I feel like a lot of people just kind of have a few problems with when playing the character, which is something that you can, of course, really easily fix. As well with this, when you do see someone like a McCree, maybe try to E out of there, maybe try to shift out of there, ask for a healer, just try to get out of there. You want to make sure that you aren't letting your counters counter you. You actually can do decent against people like McCree and people like Soldier if you can flank behind them and get medium-ish closest. Not close enough that, you know, McCree could happen to EU or flashbang, but at a decent enough range where he's just right out of that flashbang where you can maybe hit one or two of those bullets and just insta-gib him. That can be pretty good. If he can't get instant headshots, you should be dealing fine. And, of course, if you are behind him and doesn't know that you're there, you can do even better because, you know, sneaky damage. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say about this video. Of course, as always, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to tell me in the comment section down below. Tell me what player you want me to, you know, showcase in the next video, and of course, what character, if you want this on any certain character. Thank you guys all for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the series, make sure to leave a like, comment down below who you want to see next, and maybe press that playlist button that you can see right now if you want to see any more videos like this. As always, though, guys, thank you all for watching. Subscribe, and have a wonderful day.